So remember how about 2 years ago I went under for my first surgery on my foot, and then everything went really wrong and I went under for my second surgery on my foot, and then things started to get better, but it was a long process to get to where I ended up getting in the summer of 2019. Well, I remember that time, and it was a brutal period in my life. Just a lot of, frustration. A, that I'm injured. B, that this injury is not healing. C, that it's not only not healing, but it's getting worse. And D, having to go through the surgery process twice. That was really frustrating. Now that I am far removed from all that, and we're in the middle of a pandemic where we're not training, the Olympics has been postponed, a lot of this has given me a lot of time to sit back and reflect and really think about that season of life, but also think about injuries in general. So for this video, I want to talk about injuries. I want to talk about my mindset about my injuries that I've had in the past, whether it's with my foot or with my head or with my wrists or shoulders or triceps or core, everything that I can think of. I'll bring it up and I'll talk about how my mindset is different now than it was when I was really going through the thick of it with a lot of those injuries. So first, we need to scroll the clock back 11 years to probably the biggest injury, but also one of the first injuries I really had to go through. And this was the injury of me hitting my head on the platform. I was so young. I was 12 years old. I had no idea how severe the injury was at the time. I was just a young kid who really wanted to dive. And so I hit my head. I was alive. I was thankful to be alive, but I still wanted to dive. And so after a month and a half, I got back into it and really didn't think too much of it, thinking back on the whole situation. I was just really ready to get back on the board. I was really ready to, not sit on the sidelines for more than a month and a half. Hitting your head on the platform is a serious injury. It's a severe injury, and one that could have ended my life, could have ended my career. But I think because I was so young and I really wasn't too focused on my mortality at the time, as a teenager, not even a teenager, as a preteen, you think you're invincible. And I was in that mindset of, I'll be fine. I'll get back on the boards. I'll be good. And I was fine eventually. I got back on the boards and I was able to compete later that year. And if I were to go through that injury now, it would probably be a whole different story. See, when I'm young, I'm not scared of anything. I'm excited for 10 meter. I'm excited for scary dives. But now at the age of 24, I'm a little more nervous about things. I'm a little more cautious than I used to be. Definitely a little more scared of things that I used to not be scared of. And I think that comes along with experience, it comes along with age, and it comes along with my ability to comprehend how dangerous or not dangerous something is. And I start with that injury because I want to paint this picture of how mindsets can change. In 2012, I hit my head. No fear, let's go, let's get back on the boards, let's do this. If I were to do that same thing now, it'd be a little more of a conversation with myself, a little back and forth of, hey, why am I doing what I'm doing? Can I do this safe type of conversation? Moving on to the next set of injuries, I'm gonna kind of lump all the upper body ones together that are excluding my head, but I've had a lot of issues with my thumb, this thumb in particular, with my triceps, with my wrists, and with my abs. I started diving full time at the age of 10. And from the age of 10 to 16, I was doing it probably 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, and I was putting my body through it. I was truly the king of overdoing it because, again, when you're that young, you feel like you're invincible. I look at the workouts that I used to do now, and I just cannot comprehend how I was able to do stuff like that at that age. And again, I think that comes with experience, it comes with age, and it comes with your body actually does start to slow down once you hit your mid-20s. With all that being said, I think I had a lot of issues with my abs. If you look back on footage at the 2012 Olympic trials, you'll see a piece of tape on my abs, and that's because I did so many core workouts and so many dives at that time that I was pulling my ab. I was really straining the muscles to the point where in the sport of diving, you extend backwards on a takeoff, say on like a back 3.5, and you go from that extension position to a quick crunch position, and doing that so many times breaks down your abs if you are A, overdoing it, or B, not strong enough to withstand that motion. And in my case, I was overdoing it. I was overdoing a lot of stuff when I was young, but you know, it did build a good foundation for me to be healthier at an older age, and it also taught me what I really need to do to be successful in the sport, and when to stop and cap things off, because that was a hard thing for me to learn, especially getting into college, as I was a pro at doing way too much. And you get to the point of diminishing returns where you start to do more dives that get worse and worse and worse, and by the end of it, you're actually making the dive worse by training it too much because you're getting tired. And as a result of overdoing it, I would pull or strain my abs. I would strain my triceps from just being so tired. I wasn't able to lock out my arms when I hit the water, and then all the force would go right to the tricep. Actually, I remember in 2016 in Beijing, I strained my tricep real bad, trying to do a back 3.5 pike. It was a new dive, one I was working on getting for the Olympics. I ended up not getting it for the Olympics. I did compete it a few times in Beijing and Dubai. I just wasn't strong enough to lock out my arms on that dive because I was so tall and really wasn't able to get the dive around. And in that situation, I learned that I can be successful without that dive, because if I do this dive, I'm not going to be able to dive because my triceps hurt too bad. If I take it out, I'll be able to do an easier dive better and walk away with an Olympic medal. But there are tons of meets where I've got tape on my triceps because I am just so sore and my triceps just can't take any more reps. Same thing with the wrists. I broke my wrist when I was young, fell off of the neighborhood backyard fence in a neighbor's backyard, got my hand stuck in the fence, this whole ordeal, broke that, and now I have to dive with a wrist brace on 100% of the time. My wrist doesn't hurt anymore, but I do one dive without it on, and it hurts. And the last upper body injury that has really been caused by diving, caused me a lot of issues and struggle and pain in the sport, is my thumb. Check this out. So this right one hasn't been broken. It's fine. I can bend it all the way. This left one has been broken, and as you can see, that's as far as it goes. It just doesn't go any farther. I actually broke it at Olympic trials in 2012. I did a handstand dive, back arm stand 2.5 twist for all you divers out there. One, I was way too young to be doing that dive. I wasn't strong enough to make the dive well enough to be able to compete it, but I was still doing it anyway because, you know, the whole invincible 14, 15, 16-year-old thing I was going through, yeah, that was it. I went for the water on the dive, went to line up, and couldn't lock out my arms, so I hurt my triceps because I couldn't lock them out, couldn't protect myself, and the thumb hit me in the face from 10 meter. And that doesn't seem like much, but I think it caught just right somewhere on my face, probably my nose, and it did like a little fracture in the thumb that ended up causing a lot of issues. And so, especially when I was vlogging, I think I was having thumb issues before that because I had done that same thing many, many times, and you'd go in the water, you'd either jam your thumb, getting it stuck on your hand, or you'd hit it on your face, and so I'd wear this thumb brace. But after Olympic trials, you can even see in the vlogs, I'm wearing this like, what is it, like plastic or like a mold thumb brace for a long time, and that was so I could still dive and didn't have to take time off to put my thumb in a cast. So I could sleep with it on and take it off for practice, but that was basically to help my thumb heal because it was broken. And then the last big injury that, if you've been following my channel over the past couple of years, you would definitely know about, is I've had 2 foot surgeries. These are the only surgeries I've actually had, which is crazy to think about because I've broken a lot of bones in my body. And if you want to know all the ins and outs of the foot surgeries and all the details, there's a ton of videos over the past couple years on this channel. Go check them out. I get pretty in depth with, you know, going in to get my foot fixed, putting 2 screws in, being allergic to the screws, having them taken out, having to put bone from my hip in my foot, having to move an artery around. This whole big thing is in a lot of other videos, so go check those out. But that was a stressful time for me because this was all happening as the Olympics were approaching and as the World Championships and the Pan Am Games were approaching, and these are things that qualify your nation for the Olympics, and I saw this injury as a hindrance to my ability to be able to train and be prepared to qualify America for the Olympics and then be prepared for Olympic trials this year. Had I known back in 2018 that the Olympics were not happening in 2020, I 100% believe I would have been way more chill about the process, even with everything that went wrong in the surgery process. I would have been way more chill. But that's not how life works. You don't get to see a couple years into the future and make decisions on how you're going to respond to something in the moment. Because in the moment, I thought I only had 18 months until the Olympics, and 8 to 10 of those months were spent not even walking because of everything that was going wrong. And that put a lot of stress on me, that put a lot of strain on me. And the crazy thing was I was able to qualify for the Pan Am Games, able to qualify for the World Championships, able to qualify for the Olympic test event so soon after the surgery. And it was a battle to get there. I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the hardest things to go through. It was a really trying time for my character, and it was a time that forced me to confront a lot of things about my character or about myself that were not healthy. And while I didn't go about everything in the healthiest way, I feel now being removed from it X amount of months that, you know, I've grown as a person, and now with everything going on, I feel a lot more chill and relaxed knowing that, okay, I have an entire year to train for the Olympics now, but also a year to keep recovering from these foot issues I'm having, because I'm not gonna lie, my foot's not perfect. I had the 2 surgeries. It's healthy enough to dive. I am the strongest I've ever been at the sport, but there's still just those residual pains in my foot that will go away eventually. But for right now, it's something you still have to push through. Obviously, a worldwide pandemic is a bad thing. Having to be in quarantine for months and months and months while people are sick and the economy is really struggling, it's not the best thing in the world. But there has been a positive in the sense that my body and my foot especially have been able to take time to rest, to heal, to recover. And as we start to get back into diving soon, I will be healthier than I was before all this. To all the athletes out there, to all the coaches out there, sometimes doing a lot is not the best thing to be doing. I look back at Steele at the age of 14, who was doing so many dives off 10 meter and had so many injuries, versus a 24-year-old Steele who has had a lot of rest but is still working out and taking care of himself. There's a huge difference. One was having fun but was injured a lot, and the other one is having fun and is healthy. And that's what I think is so important for me to realize now that I'm in my mid-20s, is that I don't need to try to overdo a lot of things, whether it's with diving, with work, with whatever it is. There's a healthy balance between work, working out, whatever this is for you. For me, it's working out. There's a healthy balance between working out and rest. They both are necessary to be successful. You can't have one without the other and be successful, in the sense that you might work out 168 hours a week, but you're shortening your lifespan because you're never sleeping. And so it's this law of diminishing returns. At what point do I need to take a step back and rest in order to be a better diver, to be a better athlete, to be a better worker? The answer is different for everyone. I need X amount of rest, the next person needs Y amount of rest, the next person needs Z amount of rest. It's different for everyone. And so you've got to figure out what works best for you and stick to it and just watch yourself grow. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a like, and in the comments, tell me about an injury you've had to go through, whether you're an athlete or not. I've been through a lot of injuries, and I get a lot of comfort reading other people's stories of what they went through and how they were able to overcome it, in a sense. So just want to give everyone a reminder that members of the channel get to see these videos a day early. So if you want to catch these videos right as they're done and right as they're released, be sure to hit subscribe. Wow, I just said sure, weird. I say it like sure, but I just said sure. Be sure, there, I did it again. Okay, just become a member if you want. If not, you can see the videos the day after. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Phew.